Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Hornbill Podcast. I have a chair today and not a yoga ball, and I'm fucking pumped on that. That doesn't matter, though, because I have Dixon with me from Over the Weather. What's going on, man?
What's up? Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. One thing I'm going to throw out right away is you are the drummer of Over the Weather, but you are also the main vocalist of Over the Weather, correct?
I wouldn't say main. Julian, our guitarist, we share pretty much every song. Like, it's split pretty evenly, 50-50.
Okay.
And then there's additional stuff done by Chris, who plays bass in the band. So the only one that doesn't sing is our other guitarist, Ryan, although we're trying so hard to get him to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a whole barbershop, quintet at that point of musicians and vocalists. I love it. So I am drumming and singing is not something that's very easy to do. I can do it keeping a straightforward beat. I'm sure others can do that, but there's a lot of intricacies and cool things that you guys do that's not very easy to do. So one, way to fucking go, because that shit's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan of From Autumn to Ashes and of Jellyfish, both of which have their vocalists as their drummers. So it's cool to still see that happening. It's rare and few and far in between, but I dig it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely an odd transition, because on our first project, like I didn't do that pretty much at all. So we sort of had to change up the vocals because of a member not being a part of the band anymore. So we just kind of made it work, and
Okay.
I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out.
Gotcha. So when did you switch this vocal style? Was it between the first and second album?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, because it's a pretty major difference in how you guys sound, not just vocals, but how the sound of the band has evolved between those two albums.
Definitely.
So I'll just kind of run through it. So the first album, it's called Old Room, and this is more... the way I hear it, it's very movements and moose bloody. It's that very not traditional alternative rock emo style. And then Party Socks, which is the most recent album, is I get a lot of Teenage Wrist and Hum. I don't know if you've ever listened to them, but when they do heavier, weirder parts, like that sounds pretty in line with you guys. And both are tremendous in their own right. And it's just very different and cool that you guys are one band doing both of those things. So,
I love Hum. That's a major compliment. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Legendary.
You'd Prefer an Astronaut is, top tier for me. That album, otherworldly. So jump into Old Room a bit. Talk to me about it. I know there's a couple of singles off of that album, mainly Green Tree.
Yeah, Green Tree, and then Box Fan was the other big single, because we have a music video. That was our first music video, was Box Fan. I don't know, like Old Room is still, I love that record, It's
really good.
Yeah, I love that record. Obviously, when we perform any of the songs off of it now, it sounds different because it is Julian and I that handle the vocals. And there are a couple songs off of that record that we won't touch live now, because they were songs that Brandon, our previous guitarist, wrote, and they were very personal.
Sure.
And like a lot of the songs on that album are just super cathartic. And we wouldn't want to touch, any of his work that is so emotional and so close to him. But, even though we weren't singing on that record, we wrote a lot of the lyrics, and so a lot of the songs that we still play off of Old Room are stuff that we helped write and stuff like that.
Cool.
So Box Fan, like that, we wrote a lot of the lyrics on that guy, and we're good with Brandon. Everything is fine. So, but I still love that record. It was very much what I needed at the time to, like, as somebody who was unmedicated and not into therapy yet, I think it really helped me move forward with my mental health, getting a lot of my thoughts and feelings on paper and then into a song. It was what I needed at that moment. And it's very different from Party Socks, because at that time I was in a much worse place, and the lyrical content, and I'd say even some of the musical content, I think reflects that pretty obviously.
So I resonate with that so deeply. Our first album is very similar. We rushed to get it out too, and that kind of helped with the way it sounds. But it was it was only cathartic at that point in time. And then when people decided that they resonated with it, like, that's when Hornbill became more than just, I'm dealing with so much shit, let's find a way to get it out. So I get that you saying that puts that album a bit more into perspective, because I get that vibe. It's a very emo album.
Yeah.
And it's heavy. And that makes sense. So yes, I resonate with that. I'm glad that your mental health has progressed, and
yeah, thank you. Me too.
yeah. It's evident on Party Socks that things, I don't know, it's a more raw and heavier album, and obviously that goes because of the lineup change and who's putting creative input into it, but you can tell there's a difference there, and it's very cool. So Old Room, you mentioned that you play some of the songs live. Obviously they sound different because of who's playing them. Have you gone back and have you reworked any of these songs? Do they flow any differently?
We haven't. We've definitely thought about it. So for right now, any of the ones, like, it's the big ones off that record that we still play. So like Box Fan, Green Tree, we'll still play that one. Dad Hat. Those are like the main ones that we'll still play at practice and stuff like that. And for the most part, like, the structures of the songs have remained the same. I'm sure there's a different flow. I don't know if we notice it when we play. But I'm sure just because different people are singing, it's probably pretty different, And we've played some of them in live sessions, but they were real early on into the lineup change, like probably before Party Socks was out. I'm pretty sure we did a couple of live sessions, like during quarantine, where we played a couple of those songs. So
cool. So my favorite on that first album is probably one of the more super personal and emotional songs, Couch Surfing.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for just clean ambient guitar and somebody, I don't know, just going to fucking town on what it is that they're just trying to get across. And I'm assuming that's not a real voicemail that was left, or was it?
So that one, it's unfortunate because we have a voicemail that was like super duper, like it was basically the same thing, and it's our friend Charlotte, and it was on my old phone, and like we had planned to use it and everything, and I never exported the MP3, and then my old phone shit the bed. No. So we had to have Charlotte call me on like one of our drunken nights or something to try and recreate it. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty close to
okay
to what the original voicemail was. Yeah.
So I thought that it was a more metaphorical approach to that whole situation, but the fact that it happened, I mean, that's, I get it. That's intense. And a little weird to have her recreate it.
I felt bad. I was like, bro, I'm so sorry. But, like...
Yeah, can you tap into that one-time thing, please? One more time?
Yeah, exactly. And she did. Bless her heart. So
it sounds really great. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, and then, so Party Socks came out at the beginning of this year, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. You might have to correct me here, but is it just Tom featuring Tom, or is it Tom and there's actually a guy named Tom being featured on it?
Kind of both.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of both, because it just started as Tom was just the name of the song, and Tom is like our best friend.
Okay.
But then we completely self-recorded Party Socks.
Cool.
Our guitarist Julian, the other vocalist, he owns and operates a studio here in Pittsburgh, which, funny enough, it's called The Old Room. So
okay.
Yeah, and we just had a bunch of different friends who were, musically inclined and wanted to feature and everything, come in and yell a couple of lines, and so their parts on Tom where Tom sings. So we thought it would be really funny to have it be called Tom featuring Tom. So he wasn't originally going to be on there, but, he came through and did some guest vocals. So, and it makes the name funnier.
It does definitely make it, that context makes it, just that much better, because it's a funny name as it is, and no, I dig it. And it's a fucking sick song, by the way, too.
Thank you.
I think I have it, actually. I'm going to pull it up real quick so we can kind of go over it. Let me know if you can hear that.
Yeah,
it might be faint, but okay. So this video came out in April for this song, obviously. I'm going to turn it down just a hair. Bro, I love how much you guys skate.
It's just me that skates.
Is it just you? Okay.
It's just me, yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty solid, too. I see you post things, and I'm like, I mean, it's shit that I can't even comprehend, so... Ryan and I, he skates. He's nothing crazy or anything. He goes around and just kind of cruises. But Tony Hawk and the what is it? The Street League series. It came to Salt Lake 2 weeks ago, and we went and saw those guys and girls rip it up. And
oh, that's so sick
to see Tony Hawk and like Andy McDonald and Steve Caballero and all those old original Vert guys like killing it still in their 50s and 60s. Like
I saw that clip of Cab doing like his first full cab in like 20 years.
Yeah.
That was sick.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. So I have a soft spot for that. So I love it. But yeah, this video is awesome. It's just you guys doing shit, just videos over time.
That's what we wanted a music video to accompany the release, but we're also poor. It's like I didn't have a job through COVID, so we decided to just take phone clips from throughout the years that are funny and mash them up and just film ourselves here in the studio with our phones for a couple of playthroughs to bring it together a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah, we just edited everything ourselves, and easy peasy.
Dude, that's a video that Ryan and I are going to be doing for one of the new songs on the album when it comes out. And this shit is done over and over again, but it's always an incredible video to watch.
It's always fun.
It's an insight to who is playing this music and the fun that you guys have and like it's done a million times, but it's always incredible.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like a lot of people do it, but it's because it works and like it makes a good video.
Yeah,
you know,
it's wonderful. So I'm assuming this part has Tom in it. He's just yelling here.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, when you have that many layered vocals, it's hard to pick anything out. But yeah, he's like all throughout the song. And he's on other songs on Party Socks, too.
Love it. Yeah, good fucking song. God, that whole record is awesome.
Thank you.
Like, I'm a sucker for hum, so hearing those weird, just neat chordy progressions, like, I don't know, I just vibe with it. It's cool. What are you guys working on? I know an album just came out, obviously, but anything in the works?
Yeah, we have a new music video. I won't say for what song yet, okay. But we have a really, really cool video we just got our first raw cut back for.
Sick.
So that'll be coming super soon. And then, I mean, we have a bunch of songs ready to go. So we just have to decide what we want to do next. I think we're looking to do a split with another band from Pittsburgh here. So
very cool.
Hopefully that'll be coming together pretty soon. And then we organized a cover compilation. That should be coming out hopefully within the next couple of months here.
Okay.
To benefit No More Dysphoria. So
sick.
Yeah, we're just waiting on some cover art and just a few covers left to go here, and we'll be good to go on that. So that'll be coming out pretty soon too. A lot of really cool people we got to work with, and it was a ton of fun. So,
any theme there?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we decided to do a modern baseball cover compilation.
Okay.
So Twitter is going to have a field day with that one.
Yes, they will.
With all of the modern baseball discourse. But I mean, all the covers are super sick. Like everybody killed it. So I'm just excited to get it out. And like I said, we are going to be donating any and all profits to No More Dysphoria. So I'm hoping, even if there is some discourse on Twitter, that it'll maybe drum up some money for a good cause.
I hope so. That would be sick. I've been thinking about doing that and doing like a grunge type cover comp and just having everybody, I don't know, just a bunch of people, whether it's people who have been on the podcast or just open it up to Twitter or whatever. Sure. I think that would be cool. And the Trevor Project is close to my heart, and I would love to.
That was one that we have a Discord with everybody. So that we can discuss, all sorts of stuff with the comp. And awesome. That was one of the names that was thrown around when we were discussing what charity we wanted to do as well, because they do a lot of great work. But yeah, you totally should. It wasn't super duper difficult to get everybody together in a Discord server and just say, pick a song and then here's your deadline. And, if you need anything, let me know. It was pretty great. And I just reached out to a bunch of the bands in the scene that I thought sounded really good and that, had interacted at one point or another with us on Twitter, and that was it. It was just all the Twitter friends that I had made that I thought would be down. I just hit them up, and it was great.
Love it. Dude, so I see all the discourse on modern baseball, but... and I hope I'm not crucified for this, but I have never listened to them. And I have not listened to them because of what I see. I just want to sit on the fence in my happy own little world and not be pulled to either side.
To either side, yeah. I mean, that's fine. That's fair. I love modern baseball. I was super into modern baseball when they were still around. I got to go see them a couple of times. They were one of my favorite revival bands that really got me into the genre at the time, late into my high school years. So I still love their records, but, I honestly, I can understand people who dislike modern baseball, especially for the vocals. Like I can get it. But then I see a lot of love for Slaughter Beach Dog on the timeline too, and that's just one half of modern baseball, basically.
Okay.
With some added people. So, and I love Slaughter Beach Dog too.
Maybe I'm just gonna pull the trigger and listen to both now, because I don't know. I'm too invested at this point. I have to choose a side.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've thought about it. I wasn't. It just seemed like a huge undertaking, but if it doesn't seem like it might be that bad, so
no, I mean we even, because Julian runs the studio, like we offered up services to everybody. Like if you need stuff mixed or mastered or whatever, like we will do it for free. Totally. Sick. Just send us stems and all that stuff. And honestly, like I think a lot of the people that agreed to be on the comp just had the ability to record themselves really well, because a lot of the covers sound fantastic and they didn't have to utilize our services or anything. Yeah. So it was pretty much just pick a song and help us decide what charity to do and give some input on the artwork for the comp, and that was it.
Cool. Yeah, so we have this studio behind me here. It's in my garage, and the ability that everybody has to record and put out a good sounding product nowadays, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I love it. That said, I'm doing the same shit, and I'm offering services. Like, if you're listening to this and you might not know what's going on, like, reach out to us. I'm happy to do like a test mix for you for free and show you what, if anything, help you get to where you want to be, so you can be self-sufficient with it. Because, I mean, shit, interfaces are like not even $100 now, and you just plug your fucking guitar in. You can do an amp sim for another $50 to $100, and you have your own band in a very short amount of time. So, but yeah, everybody is putting out incredible music, and it's so cool to see.
For sure. I mean, speaking of which, you just had your song drop, and the nice little live video in the studio behind you. That was so sick. I loved it.
Thank you. That was so. This is the perfect segue into the For Us Fest. Both of us played that in June, July. The end of July, beginning of August. And that's how. I'm pretty positive that's how we found you guys. And
probably did you play the one last year too? No. Okay. No. Well, and I think initially we started interacting through CloudSurf, right?
Oh, maybe that's right too, because
I mean, it was an amalgamation of both, I guess. Yeah,
I'm sure. So yeah, first off, huge shout out to For Us and CloudSurf.
For sure.
They're doing wonderful things with, I mean, all the wonderful bands around. And they kind of, I mean, I don't know if Jake helped put this thing together, but For Us Fest was this virtual Minecraft server live set thing. And it ended up being super fucking cool. And it was like a 3-day little festival, and there was just a ton of fucking bands on it, and everybody had an awesome set, and it was just super cool. So going back to our live stream and that, when we were initially asked to do this, I didn't know that it was a Minecraft thing, and I just saw live set. So I was like, all right, fuck, let's go. So I got my videographer buddy and his fiance, who is an incredible photographer. And I was just like, is there any chance that you would want to do some like musical stuff? And like before I could finish that sentence, they were like, yes, absolutely. So we filmed the set. We recorded it visually and recorded the audio, and we did a whole freaking thing. And it was super cool. And then when it came time to submit our stuff, I was just like, hey, I'm waiting another day or two on the video. And they were like, what do you mean video? And I was like, what? So, it turned into two little things, and it honestly kind of worked out perfect because the fest ended up being super cool. We had a bunch of people listen to us and a lot of new fans, which we're very grateful for. And I can imagine that everybody else on there, whether it was just band support or the people who tuned in, there's a lot more followers for everybody and a lot more people listening to music because, God, everybody on there was wonderful.
Yeah, it was stacked. It was a stacked lineup.
You guys did a cool acoustic set for it. I don't know. When it comes to bigger bands and they do acoustic sets of songs that aren't typically acoustic, I'm like, okay. But because I was just getting into you guys and I wasn't so familiar with Party Socks and Old Room, and you're playing these songs acoustically, I was like, okay, I can kind of get into this. And then it's cool to hear people's renditions of similar songs in different fashions, and I dig that when I guess if I'm not super familiar with it, it's easier for me to get behind an acoustic set.
Because you don't have like the song already in your head, maybe, that's like stuff that's different or whatever. Yeah, we did an acoustic version of Green Tree. Like, that's something that we did because we were able to in the studio to sort of like have something out in between Old Room and Party Socks, just to like try to keep some activity and be able to drop something.
Sure.
And then we actually, before we even did our acoustic set for us, like, we recorded an acoustic version of Community Day just because we wanted to like sit on it and have it, and we thought that song translated well.
Cool.
And then we did the acoustic set, so we actually have, on top of the acoustic set being out on Bandcamp right now, we also have an acoustic version of Community Day dropping in like 5 days. Like, I think it comes out for like streaming services and stuff 5 days. We're just gonna go ahead and drop it and be like, there you go. Here's a really nice, like, mixed and mastered acoustic version of the song. So I'm excited for that to be out too.
Very cool. I know. I think I'm just a psycho when it comes to it. So many people want acoustic versions of songs and love just acoustic music, but that's, I don't know, it's not my thing. But it was cool to hear a song that I heard once or twice the real way, and then to hear it acoustically, I was like, okay, I can get behind this. I don't know it that well, and it was cool to hear.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, we kind of just wanted to do something a little bit different because we also were a part of Good Noise Fest this year, so we did a whole video and live set for that, and those two fests were relatively close together. You know, I think Good Noise was right at the end of June, and then it was like a month later, and it was for us that streamed. So we were just like, oh, we don't want to do just a straightforward live set. We would want to change it up. And so we just, we got together a couple days a week and figured out how to make those songs sound okay as acoustic renditions. And I was happy with how it turned out. I think a lot of the stuff sounds better than I thought it would, to be honest. Because going into it, a couple of the songs, I was like, I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Without, loud guitars.
So that's kind of a similar version for our set was... So Hornbill is just Ryan and I, and I really, really wanted to do a live set for this, and I was just like, I don't know how to really do this without working a little bit of studio magic, but also going full fucking over the top, because that's what Hornbill is it's lots of layers and lots of different amalgamations of a bunch of different shit, and I've just figured let's do the raw guitar track. I'll sing while playing guitar, and then I'll also do a take just singing while Ryan plays the drums with me on the guitar track. and then I went in afterwards and did a bass track. So that whole set is a guitar, a bass, technically 2 vocal tracks, and then drums, and it turned out so much better than I thought it was going to sound.
I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that having watched it.
Really?
Like, yeah, really. I would think that there was a little bit more, because it sounds great. Like,
okay, well, that makes me happy.
So good, yeah. Like, it sounds really, really good.
Okay.
I wouldn't guess it's like 1 guitar track, 1 bass. I wouldn't have thought that now.
Yeah, I didn't want it to come across phony.
I get it, because it's like a live set.
Because, it's just the 2 of us, and I mean, it's already phony with a 4-track, so, I don't know. But I'm glad it sounds good. You thought so, at least. Yeah. But, yeah, we were pretty pumped on that, and then, the new song came out on Friday, and that was the last song in the end of the live stream. And we almost just released the live version of it, because there's an energy doing it live that the recording doesn't quite
sometimes
get.
Sometimes it's just hard to capture that,
But yeah, both sound good. Thank you for listening and sharing that shit too, because we had a bit of a hiccup with fucking Instagram and all that dumb shit.
I saw that. I did see that. Yeah.
It's just weird. But
bullshit. Some internet bullshit.
It's one thing, like, okay, you didn't want to go through with us paying you to promote this thing, which is the first time that we were ever going to do that. And that's fine. But for our normal reach to be, I don't know, a good few hundred people, and then to reach literally 30 people within the first, day of us posting that was nuts. So
they just... it sounds like they just shadow banned you on that post. Like, it was just like, we don't like what's coming out here, so we're gonna shove that in the back, and very few people are gonna see it. Yeah.
See, I don't know if that's a real. I'm assuming it's a real thing because it happened, but like.
Oh yeah, that happens to people all the time.
Friday when we put it out, we were like, there's no way that this is like, maybe it's just not doing that well. Nobody's on fucking Instagram or anything. And then, and then Twitter, it took off for a little bit. And I was like, okay, there has to be something fucking at play. I thought it was just like a conspiracy thing, but.
No, it's the algorithms. They do that. They do. And it's, they can bury content. If it's not something that they want to be promoted on their platform. YouTube does it all the time. Instagram and Facebook are infamous for it. I mean, in Twitter, I don't think it really happens too much on Twitter. Like, Twitter has its own separate set of problems as a platform, but I don't think shadow banning is something that happens on Twitter. Or if it does, I just haven't really seen it happen.
I don't think it's the... So I know when you post media or links that it tends to it not perform as well, but as far as content is concerned, I don't think that plays into whatever their algorithm is.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it do that. I think it's more just based on like the interaction with the post than the content of the post most times. But I know, like links and all that stuff, if it's anything that is going to take somebody off of Twitter, then they, it just doesn't do well. They don't show it on people's timelines as much. It makes me think. So the album art for the single was it's like a Black Lives Matter, 2 different photos of the same protest in Baltimore that Ryan took, and I don't know if whatever intelligent thing screened a fucking hashtag Black Lives Matter or BLM thing in whatever. I don't know if it was the album art or if it was the song itself, or the caption for the post. I don't fucking know. It turned out okay. It got to who it needed to get to, I suppose. And
hopefully it keeps spreading a bit. But yeah, so thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, for sure.
It means a lot that you guys posted and shared it, because it just didn't make the rounds that day. So, but yeah, 4S Fest was sick. You guys did do the Good Noise Fest as well. Yeah, that's Over the Weather, Pittsburgh based. I saw you guys at PNC Park the other night.
It was like
you
middle of
baseball
July.
Guys?
Actually, you know what's funny? That game was the same day as our set that streamed on for us. Like,
really?
I think the 31st. Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a banner made up that was like, twitch.tv/4usfest and all that stuff. But I think by the time we got into the stadium, like the sets had already ended for the day and all that everything.
Okay.
But yeah, it was free Hawaiian shirt night. So like,
sick.
Yeah, we got a group of like 12 friends or something like that, and we all went and had a good time before and walked around the city a little bit afterwards. It was great. It was a fun time.
Cool. Are you guys big sports guys?
I'm not really, and our bass player Chris really isn't either, but Julian and Ryan get pretty into football and hockey are like their big ones.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. I won't bore you getting into sports stuff then. But I have played on PNC Field before through a Babe Ruth league when I lived in PA. So,
that's so cool.
It was like one of the first years. It was either the first year or the year after PNC opened in early 2000. So, shinful. Okay, cool. But that's Over the Weather. Let's get into some questions and advice, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, cool with that.
First thing I have, where is the place that you want to visit before you die?
That is a good question. I think I would love to go to like Argentina. I think going to Argentina would be super cool, and like seeing some waterfalls or something.
Argentina is South America, right?
Yeah, no, isn't Argentina? Yeah, probably. I don't even know.
Let's see. Now I gotta look this shit up. I know it's mostly like rainforest and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be freaking South America then. Yeah, South America. It is almost at the bottom.
Sick. Yeah, I want to go there. I want to go there and see some cool water features and jungle.
That would be pretty sick. The place I want to go, I don't know if it's a place you can go, but there is an island that's off the coast of New Zealand, and it's called Disappointment Island. And I want to go there. I'm not sure if it's like accessible to humans. I know it's just like a small island that like birds go to and shit.
That's pretty
but
fair.
Like it is called Disappointment Island, and I do want to go there.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it just looks cool. Cool. Thank you for that question. Next one. Do you believe in ghosts?
No, I vehemently do not believe in ghosts. I get into this argument with our friends all the time.
So
I'm like the only person in our our whole group that is like, no, ghosts are bullshit. I don't believe in ghosts.
So what's your stance there then?
I just think that like everything that somebody has been like, oh shit, that was a ghost, like there was a bump in the night and there was this weird sound and all that, it's like there's a million other things that it would be way more plausible for everything that's ever been pinned on ghosts to be than a ghost, like, yeah, what are the chances that humankind has gone through all these years and never once had any definitive like fucking ghost
Dude, that's how I feel about like fucking Sasquatch and like no.
Yeah, like cryptozoology and cryptids, like it's really fun to read about and like watch like Monster Hunt or whatever that show was that was on the
I know what you're talking about.
Like that was super cool, but realistically speaking, like if there was a giant ape man roaming around the entire country, like we would have some sort of definitive thing to point to, some sort of definitive evidence. And that's how I feel about ghosts too. I mean, I wouldn't say it's impossible that there's ghosts. I would say it's implausible. Like the chances that there's some sort of spirit, whatever. And I guess it has a lot to do with like how I feel about death and what my faith is and stuff like that too. But like, it's just, I don't see it. I don't get it.
So I'm almost right there with you. I don't believe in a ghost. I don't think that there's a fucking spooky guy who's either he's a shadow guy and he's walking freaking through a mental hospital or something in the middle of the night at dark. Like, I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that there's a flowy white spirit, ectoplasmic freaking guy who's a ghost. But energy and like how we're all, I don't know, atoms at the end of the day, and we can get feelings and see things, I guess, at times, or hear things. Like, I think that's ultimately our flaw as humans, right? Is we're able to have like substance to our cognition, so we're able to think too much into it, so it's fucking stupid. But I think go ahead.
I just think humans really like to figure out a nice way to explain like what happens after you die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that ghosts are just another one of those where it's like, well, sometimes you get trapped here on Earth and you gotta like tell people stuff and move around houses.
Yeah, not until you get peace can your soul rest. And oh my god, no, fuck that. You die and your body rots. Like, that's it. I personally am one that believes you're made up of energy, and you turn back into matter, and your body ends up becoming part of the earth again, and then the earth throws you back out into it somehow, some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And I feel that, I don't know, there's so many unknown fucking things with our brains that, like, there's no way that there's just no way that happens. And I don't know. We're able to think too much, and that's my answer to that. There's no fucking ghosts.
I'm with that.
Good one. Also, if you're a grown-ass adult and you're chasing a fucking Sam Squanch, like, no. Like,
people can do whatever they want to with their time, but I mean, I don't know.
Okay, let me say, you should not define yourself by the search for Sasquatch or Chupacabra or freaking Loch Ness Monster or something like that. Like how people who drink too much coffee and they're like, oh, can't function without my coffee. Like, if you can't function without searching for fucking Sasquatch, like
people who are addicted to searching for cryptids.
Yeah, like I don't know. If it becomes your identity, it's too much. But I guess that's with anything. So
everything, that's just somebody who's not a well-rounded person.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that question. This one, sorry. What is your writing process, and are you completely screwed up if something causes that process to change?
I don't know. I guess our writing process, at least for, the musical components, it's just kind of like if we're at practice and we're in a mood, it's usually me that initiates it. I'll just be like, all right, who's got a riff? And then somebody riffs, and I start playing the drums, and hopefully it just goes from there. Like, we don't really sit down and go like, all right, I have a whole song written, or like I have this or that. Like, it's just one part, and then we all just sort of noodle around until we get to something we like, and then we move forward from there. And then lyrically, it's kind of the same. Like, we all just sort of sit in a circle, and somebody comes up with the first line, and then we all brainstorm.
Really?
And yeah.
Okay.
It'll be usually it's not line by line, but it'll be like sections. You know what I mean?
Okay. So musically, I get that approach, but lyrically, that's super interesting to me. Because, in my experience, lyrics have always been whoever's singing. I guess that's not true either, because I've written lyrics for guitars that I've just played guitar for. But I guess coming up with lyrics and that being such a collaborative process is definitely interesting to me.
Yeah, well, because we share vocals so much,
that's true too.
We kind of just sit down with a song that we have finished musically. And because we have the studio, like, we'll demo out new songs and stuff before we go to actually record them.
Cool.
And then we'll sit with it, and when it's time, when we decide we want to write lyrics to a song, we'll just sit down and say, okay, what do we want this song to, like, thematically be about or feel like, and stuff like that. And everybody will just kind of start, one-liners or whatever on their phones, and then, a lot of the times it's not line by line. It's more like
pieces for certain sections and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And we all just try to kind of make it mesh and, rework and make it all come together. And that's pretty much how everything on Party Socks was done.
See, I love that. That's super cool. I would be willing to bet that that's not a very common thing for such a collaborative lyrical process. Like, that's super neat, and I honestly never have thought about that before.
Honestly, I feel like it kind of happened out of necessity almost, because, again, like, our previous vocalist, Brandon, he was, like, Old Room was the first. We had been playing with him since we were all in high school and stuff. Like, we had another band back in the day, and he was, like, strictly the only person that did the songwriting then.
Okay.
So, like, Old Room was the first time that any of us had even really contributed to the lyrical content of the songs. And we liked it. And then when Brandon wasn't in the band anymore, it was kind of a necessity. Like, none of us had ever sat down and written an entire song by ourselves. Like, That's not something that we had ever done. So we just sort of, like, pieced it all together and learned how to collaborate on lyrics, and it works for us still. Like, that's still how we write lyrics. I don't think anybody has ever really written a whole song by themselves now. Like, we just have pieces, and sometimes, like, I'll be writing for a song and I'll intentionally stop if I'm by myself, because I'm like, this can be the first piece, and then I want to see what we can all come up with together.
Okay.
And it works out pretty well for us.
Yeah, I love that. That's super neat. I would say our process is the exact opposite of that. So there have been a couple of songs on this new album are songs that I've written lyrics first and then wrote the music according to those lyrics. But the majority of everything I've ever written has been music first, and then, like, I'll write a song or just a poem or just write anything down separately outside of writing music, and I'll bring that stuff to a finished musical song and fit and maneuver those writings to those actual songs. And then the actual process for writing is I'm kind of a diva and I do everything myself. And then I throw it to Ryan when I have it, and he's so good at honing in, just kind of bringing me back down to earth, honestly, and saying what works well, what doesn't work. Here's what I would do differently. Here's what we should do. Here's what's there and it doesn't work. And then it's just kind of back and forth until we have a good product. So yeah, it is collaborative, but in a very different way.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, it's kind of cool. I dig it.
Yeah, it's I enjoy the process, and that same sort of thing that you said about Ryan and how good he is at like honing in on what doesn't work or what does work. That's like Chris, our bass player Chris. That's what he is. Like Chris is very detail oriented. Sometimes like frustratingly so. So like
they're the same person.
Yeah, so it's like whenever we have a lyric and he's like, could this be, A instead of whatever, like the real small stuff, which is something we never had before because Chris came along to help us fill the void after we parted ways with Brandon. So, and that was before Party Socks too, so like that was a learning curve. But it's very much needed, and I think that it's helped us quite a bit in like making everything flow and everything fit and just everything being cohesive.
I would say everything on Party Socks is definitely more dynamic. It's refined, but it has a lot more going on. Which
for sure.
It's a great combination to have that coming from an old, not an old album, but your previous album, to advance but still add things. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool, and not a lot of people can do that, especially, God, with new, like you said, the learning curve for new members and a new writing process. So I don't know. It worked out very well.
I think a lot of it is really just because we were able to record everything ourselves. Like we were able to take as much time as we wanted, and we weren't worrying about, how much we were paying and
yes,
wasting the time in the studio. Because a lot of it was like, with Old Room and everything that we had done previous to that, with other bands and stuff, it was just like, we got to go up to the studio, get bare bones, everything done, and then we have to decide, like, if we want to pay to go and do all of this extra stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas now it was like, I went, before we recorded everything for Party Socks, I went and spent $200 on, like, auxiliary percussion. So, like, a bunch of different tambourines and shakers. And,
nice.
Like, there's a vibra slap on Party Socks. Like
what
the title
is a vibra slap?
So a vibra slap is like, it's that percussion instrument that you kind of hear in like westerns where it almost sounds like a snake rattle.
Okay.
And that's like an actual instrument. It's like a piece of wood that's almost shaped like a bell with little bits of metal that line the inside. And then there's a piece of steel that comes up and forms another handle with a wooden ball on the end.
Okay.
And you slap the wooden ball and it vibrates the whole thing and it makes that sound and it like sustains. So I went and we bought a vibra slap for one part. Like we got to do just a bunch of really fun stuff, especially with the percussion and then with like group vocals and doing all the vocals because we had so much time to experiment.
So that's sick.
And do a bunch of harmonies. Like, yeah, it was just, if you're not able, I would say to a lot of bands, like, try to record yourselves.
Yeah.
Like it's so much nicer. It really is. Not, I like being in the studio. And like I had been recording studio drums and stuff since I was like 13 or 14. So like I was used to it, but getting to have it be like totally on your terms and take your time and do whatever you want to do, it's like the best thing. So if you're able to, in any capacity, I would, because it's great.
So there's two sides to that coin. It's very freeing being able to do everything yourself, and obviously time is of no essence at that point, and it helps tremendously to sit on things and wait to see how they develop with how you develop in time, because we're constantly changing and evolving, and a recording stays the same, unfortunately. So that has been incredibly helpful for us. Just not having to, one, rush ourselves or feel like we have to have something set in stone in order to have it recorded. We can bring multiple things to the plate at multiple different times, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And then there's the other side of that coin where it's all on you, and it's so daunting.
I mean, bless Julian's heart, because like he engineered pretty much the whole thing. He's taught us now how to do like the basic stuff, so that he doesn't have to be the only one. You know, like we could go and set up a loop and say, here's your first take, here's your second take, you know, all the shit.
Sure.
So, but at first, I mean, bless his heart. And like the other danger I think with recording yourself is that, you know, sometimes it can be really, really helpful to have another set of ears.
Oh, absolutely.
That isn't biased. So like with Party Socks, we outsourced for like mixing and mastering. Right, so we had Jake Checkaway do the mixing, which they did a fantastic job, and then we had Jesse Cannon from Found Foundation did all the mastering, and both of those processes brought out things in the songs that like we weren't even aware were really present. You know what I mean? Like it was different, but in a really, really good way, and I don't think that we would have heard it if we had done all of that ourselves. But that being said, I think our next projects coming up, I think Julian is going to be mixing and mastering those as well. He wasn't super into that idea at first, and then he was like, you know what? Like, I think I can do a really good job, which I think he can too. I think he's a phenomenal engineer on top of being a phenomenal musician. Like he's just awesome. Such a talented person. So we'll see how that goes for us too, because that'll be a whole nother cog to work into the machine. But
so that person that you're describing in Julian, that is Ryan to me, to us, and the amount that we have learned in the last year and a half, 2 years for engineering and stuff like that has been awesome. And Ryan is he's a fucking wizard when it comes to it. So I was kind of dead set on outsourcing our mixing and mastering, one, so we weren't so close to it, and we didn't have to worry about not hearing those certain things, you know, that somebody else with different ears can hear. And it was a lot off of our plate once we finally got everything recorded. But I think we are going to do it all ourselves, because it's just sounding too fucking good, and we have control over everything then, and that's both of our personalities to a T, is we just want to be able to control every little facet of everything. But it is daunting, it is exhausting, but it's freeing, it's wonderful. If you can record yourself, do it by all means.
For sure. Or, you know, even if it's, I don't know, I would even say that should take precedent over, you know, how good it sounds, at least at first. Like, just being able to experience that sort of freedom where you can just try stuff out to see if it works. Like, that can help define what your musical project sounds like. You 100%. Know what I mean? So just, if you're able to at any capacity, you know, even if it's like fucking phone recordings, and then you go in and you splice whatever samples or, you know, a synth track, shit like that. Like, just try stuff out, honestly.
Yeah.
It's so nice to be able to just experiment with your music and find things that sound good that you wouldn't have known about otherwise, you know, unless you had sat down with the sole intent of experimenting with it.
Yeah, agreed. Very well said. Yeah, thank you for that question. That was a good one. Long one. All right, so that's questions and advice. Let's go into segment. This fucking rules. What has been killing it for you lately, Dixon?
I don't know. For me personally, I'm super hyped because I'm going to be moving out for like the first time ever.
Nice.
So that's like the beginning of October. I'll be doing that. So, you know, I'm excited. I'm a lot less nervous than I thought I'd be. And maybe that will change the closer I come to that. But I'm just really, really excited to get to live with like two of my best friends, and you know, one of which is also my partner. So it's just like exciting and sort of scary.
Awesome.
But that's what's killing it for me personally. As far as the band goes, I mean, we're just writing, and you know, we got some hats and koozies made, so that's pretty sick.
I saw the little Bandcamp package.
That's pretty sick. I was hyped on those. Yeah, that's about it at the moment. But we have some cool stuff coming that I just can't talk about yet.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
My This Fucking Rules is finding a killer deal on anything really, but specifically musical equipment. I found a Black Star amp, one of the old tube metal versions, the HT100s, for a pretty good fucking deal, and it sounds awesome. And I don't know if it's going to take me away from my orange because I love it too much, but it sounds really good, and I might just refinish it and sell it like I've been doing. But finding a good deal on shit is sick.
It is, yeah, it's a great feeling.
Transversely, this fucking sucks. What has sucked for you lately?
Ooh, for me personally, again, I've been shiny hunting this fucking Oricorio in Pokemon Ultra Sun for like 3 fucking weeks now, and it just refuses to be shiny. And so that has really been fucking killing the vibes around me.
Dude, so I love Pokemon. I'm gonna date myself here, but I played I played Blue, Red, and Yellow when they first came out when I was a kid, and like those are my favorite fucking things. And then once they started adding more, I kind of got older and grew out of it.
Sure.
And then the end of last year, I got what is it called?
Is it Sword and Shield?
Yeah, Sword and Shield. And I fell back in love with it. That said, I don't know what a fucking shiny Pokemon is, and I don't know what significance it has, 1, and 2, why they're so difficult to find, and that type of shit. So enlighten me, please.
There could be a whole episode of me talking about this shit, because that's what I've pretty much spent a majority of my free time doing for like the last 3 or 4 years, is hunting shiny Pokemon.
Okay.
At its core, a shiny Pokemon is just the same Pokemon, but with a different color palette, like a different color scheme to them.
Okay.
So, like, for instance, like a Charizard, shiny Charizard is black. Like,
sick.
Super cool. Yeah, sick. Some of them look really good. Some of them look absolutely fucking terrible. Like, but the appeal to shiny Pokemon is that they're, like, mathematically speaking, more difficult to encounter by a significant margin. So, like, shiny Pokemon were introduced in the 2nd generation of games, which is why you wouldn't have ever come across one in your original playthroughs. And back then, it was like 1 in 8,100 and some odd chances that you would encounter one in the wild.
Sure.
And then it was cut a little bit in 6th gen, well, a lot of it, because now it's like 1 in 4,096.
Okay.
That you'll like go in, if you just go into the grass and encounter a Pokemon, like that's your base chance that you'll have a shiny Pokemon there.
No shit.
And like, there's a bunch of different methods that you can go about to lessen those odds, to make them weighted in your favor more.
Yeah.
And that's how I spend a lot of my free time, is doing that. And I'm working on a shiny living dex, which is one of every shiny Pokemon. So even like in the evolutionary family, so like I have a shiny Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard. So I have the whole family. So I hunted that 3 times to have the whole family.
Fucking nuts. Oh, so if you find say you find a shiny Squirtle, it'll evolve into a shiny Wartortle and then a shiny Blastoise.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it doesn't like
evolutions.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So, are there stats like boosted or anything? Is there anything that makes them special other than their color palette?
Just the color palette.
It's so bizarre.
It's just like the flex. You know what I mean? If you can get a cool shiny. Well, and there are people that'll like breed Pokemon for competitive, to breed for IVs, and there are people that will, breed for perfect IV shinies and stuff like that. But I don't even do that. I'm not into like competitive or battling. I am like strictly, I want to find the best way to shiny hunt this Pokemon, and then I'll do it. And yeah, this just in particular, this Oricorio that I've been hunting has just been driving me up a fucking wall. Like, it just won't be a different color. It's really obnoxious. I wish it would just be shiny already so I could do something else.
That's dedication, dude, because God, I know how difficult it is to try and find just any, say you're looking for any particular Pokemon, and that's difficult in itself. So finding a special one, that's yeah, and then the breeding thing too, I don't know anything about it at all. I mean, I understand how breeding works, but yeah, from a fundamental like environmental science.
Sure, yeah, I know how stuff breeds.
Yeah, you pee in a girl and then they get pregnant, right? Okay, so that, yeah. Well, I hope that one pops up for you soon.
Thank you.
Because that's
too, dude.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks. I am going to bum that out significantly. I cannot. I am on a new round of medication, and I can't tell if it's working or not. And it's not quite as interesting as a shiny Pokemon, but I don't know what's going on in my brain, and I don't know how to convey what's going on either.
Oh, yeah, that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah. So that fucking sucks.
How long? When did you start the new medication?
So I started this 3 weeks ago. It was supposed to kind of give me an idea of what I would be dealing with in 3 to 5 days, and I've noticed side effects from it, but I don't notice. I don't know. So I'm just gonna. I have ADHD, and I am trying to pretty much hone that in. So I'm taking extended release Adderall, and I feel like I can focus better somewhat, but I also I feel like everything is just amplified. Like if my base level for everything is here, I feel like everything is just up here now. I can focus on certain things a little bit better, but I'm also more fucking anxious, and I'm so sad for no fucking reason, and like I don't know. So yeah.
I hope that resolves itself, or gets better in some capacity, because that sucks. Brain stuff sucks. It's the worst.
It really does. I went through a whole round of... so my last round of medications and stuff was like a year long of different antidepressants and mood stabilizers and shit. And that was when I was just clinical depression and severe depression and everything. And now, since that was 3 years ago, since then, I have now been diagnosed ADHD, OCD, and bipolar 2. So I don't know what to do.
The unfortunate thing is, I think a lot of that is just sort of playing like chemical cocktail for a little while.
Yeah, it's trial and error, and it's so weird, and I don't know.
I know that can be super duper discouraging, just trying to fix it and shit not working, but you just have to keep at it. That and therapy. Therapy is super duper important.
So I don't know if it's I'm sure certain things don't help with it, but therapy for me has never been beneficial. I've tried 4 different therapists over the course of the years, and it does not do anything for me. I always feel like I'm just, like right now, I feel like I'm just venting to someone about how I feel, and nothing ever comes of that. And I'm not sure if it's just a fundamental misunderstanding of what therapy is. I'm not sure if it might not be right for my personality. I'm not sure if I just have to have things rewired, and me talking through things isn't necessarily going to help any of that. Or I'm not sure if I just haven't found the right therapist, or all of the above. And that has been the most discouraging part for me, because I know how beneficial therapy is for the majority of everybody I talk to. So that makes me, it makes me feel like a fucking freak because I don't get any benefit from it, or haven't yet.
No, I don't think. I mean, so have you only tried like talk therapy? Like, is that the?
So I've done 2 have been talk therapy, and 2 have been, I can't remember the term for it. It's more like intensive, talking about like your childhood and shit like that. And I don't know if I don't remember what the term is called. But that has not been beneficial either. If anything, those just make me more fucking upset. And I'm not sure if I needed to continue to follow through with those things and get through the things that were making me upset, but I was just becoming increasingly more bothered every time. So,
or say, were you medicated and everything while you were doing?
For some of those therapy stints, yes. For some of them, no.
Yeah, because I know a lot of the times it's like your best outcome is going to be like a combination of like medication can only do so much for you. Yeah. And then, like any sort of therapy will only do so much for you as well. If it's a chemical imbalance in your brain, like that has to be taken care of. But then there's also behaviors that you pick up, while being mentally ill that, can stick with you even through medication. And so that's how therapy has helped me a lot, at least, is like talking through that. But it's also not for everyone. And that's why there are different kinds of therapy. So
I was told that, and from the research I've done too, that immersion therapy is really good for people with OCD, because it kind of helps rewire your brain and how you deal with. So the one therapist I spoke to, he put it to me this way. It was, with OCD, you kind of, like, your brain tells you that there's immediate danger, and there just isn't. And there's some disconnect there. And this immersion therapy is supposed to help you kind of rewire your brain into realizing that those signals might be being sent, but that there's no immediate danger present, and that things are okay, and you don't have to fucking have a breakdown every time you feel those things. But that therapy was way fucking expensive, even with my insurance. And
that's the other issue with trying to figure out anything with mental health, is that it also costs money, and that can just be an added stressor onto everything else.
They're worse.
It's such a fucked system. It really is. I know. It's hard to not become just a total defeatist about it, because I've been there. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I don't have money to fix any of this shit, and that just makes me feel worse.
I like to think that I'm at a good place with a lot of things going on right now, mostly with relationships and how I've been dealing with people. That has been great lately, and I feel like doing this podcast and just the band has helped that tremendously. That I'm the best I've ever been with that. In other aspects, it's the complete opposite, and the debt factor. I'm already in debt, and the thought of going into more debt to do something that might not help me is so it's trying, and it's rough, but we're good.
Yeah, just keep on chugging along. That's all you can do, you know?
Anybody out there listening, if you're feeling or resonating with these things and you're feeling alone or shitty about it, reach out, please. Because I know I'm not alone, but I feel alone, and reach out if you ever need it. So that fucking sucks. Recent jams. What have you been listening to the last day or two?
Well, I mean, the new Hornbill song for one. Yeah, come on. And I don't know, I really like Charlie XCX just dropped a new song, and I think that song is really fucking good. I don't know if you've ever gotten into her stuff, but...
So, I haven't listened to anything recently, but maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I had a stint with her, and she's just off the wall fucking creative. She's like kind of like, she reminds me of like a new Bjork, but not as maybe not as intense.
Yeah, I loved like all the hyper pop aspects of her last couple projects, and then this one sounds like it's very like 80s inspired, like 80s synth poppy, and
I'm definitely gonna have to listen then.
Yeah, so I've been jamming that out the last couple of days, pretty consistently.
She's too creative for her own good, and
I love Charlie. She's just fantastic.
She's one of those artists that I feel like things don't come across to the majority of music listeners the way that the intent goes into them. Same thing with like Poppy. Like Poppy, she is so fucking talented, but like it's not palatable for a lot of people.
Yeah. The band does like this thing where we'll each recommend an album each month.
Sick.
We've sort of fallen off a little bit on it, but that's what I had a Charlie XCX album that everybody had to listen to not that long ago, and most of the band was like, what the fuck? Why would you have us listen to this? I was like, I love this record, this is one of my favorites. But I get what you mean. It's it's one of those things where it's kind of like you either get it and it resonates, or you don't, and you don't hard. You know what I mean? It can be really...
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's the Bjork factor. There's so much fucking talent and inspiration there, but like it just isn't... A lot of it isn't palatable to a lot of people, and because Charlie should be fucking bigger. Poppy should be... Bjork should be bigger. But my recent jam, so I don't know if you know the band Choice Coin, but they're a Salt Lake band, kind of mathcore-y, kind of screamo-y, and Ryan and I actually went and saw them Friday night in Salt Lake, and they're just incredible. Such a good live show, and then I've just been jamming their recordings since, so shout out to those guys. Choice Coin is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to go check that out. for sure.
They're great.
Cool.
I woke up with this. What have you woken up with in your head? Whether it's a song or movie or anything.
I don't know. I have consistently woken up with like every song from the newest Bo Burnham special stuck in my head, like since I saw it.
Who else said that? Maybe it was St. Judas. Somebody said Bo Burnham songs too.
I mean, it's an incredible special, and I think the music is just super duper good, even beyond like a comedic level. So I wake up with that stuck in my head like all the time.
Gotcha.
So that would probably be my go-to answer for that as of late.
Dude, so this morning I woke up with this song in my head. I'm gonna sing it and see if you notice it. I'm gonna feel like a real fucking loser if you don't know it, and it's just like the ocean under the moon. It's the same as the emotion that I get from you.
That's a classic.
Fucking Rob Thomas and Santana.
Yeah, Carlos Santana on the guitar. Come on.
Oh my God. I woke up with that in my head. I woke up and I was like, man, it's a hot one. Bow, bow, like 7 inches from the midday sun. Bow, bow. I was like, let's go. It's a good fucking song.
It's a good one to wake up with in your head. Yeah, it's going to be a good day.
Shinfo. Give me some random shitty info.
I had to fucking 2 days ago, I was scheduled at my job at Speedway from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., but they just didn't fucking schedule anybody after me, so I had to stay there until 10 p.m., and I was like the only cashier from 3 o'clock to 10 p.m. That's my random shitty info, is fuck that day, and I'm glad it's over.
Speedway, what is that?
It's like, I don't know what the equivalent would be for you. It's like Sheetz and Wawa, where it's kind of like
Maverick,
the mega convenience store. There you go. Yeah, whatever that has food and gas and all the snacks in the world. Yeah.
Gotcha. God, I miss a good Sheetz and Wawa run, man.
Oh, dude, Sheetz is the shit. Speedway food kind of fucking sucks, but it's like a 2-minute walk from my house, so it's super easy for me.
Yeah, I miss a good Sheetz and Wawa run. It just hits different. Well, Maverick is great out here. We also have Come and Go out here, which I'm sure anyone has seen Come and Go just because of the name.
We got a couple Come and Go's out here.
But yeah, those are good in their own right. But not quite Sheetz and Wawa.
No,
I miss that East Coast love.
Sheetz is the shit, man. I love Sheetz.
Yeah. Okay, so my shinfo came from a comment from my buddy Kenny, who commented on the live stream, and he was commenting on my purple ESP, and he said, "Oh, with that purple ass Prince guitar." And one, I love that comment, and two, I love Prince. I actually saw Prince live at Madison Square Garden with my wife, like right before he died. And that was one of the best shows I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That motherfucker was on another level.
Yeah.
And, rest in peace, Prince. But yeah, that all stemmed from my lavender purple ESP, so thanks Kenny, appreciate that. Okay, give someone credit who's been killing it for you lately.
Yeah, I mean there's a ton of people that have been killing it for us lately. You know, Jake from Cloud Surf, they have done a lot of really great stuff for us, so shout outs to them. Again, Jake Checkaway and Jesse Cannon helping us with the mixing and mastering of the last album. That was instrumental to how it sounds now. So, like, major shout out to them. And then just like the rest of the boys in the band that can't be here today because they have other things they got to do. I mean, it's just they're like my best friends, and I wouldn't be able to do this without them, obviously. So they're all just the best, and I love them.
Good calls. I am going to give my buddy Cameron credit this week. Cameron is, he's a Salt Lake guy. He is one of my best friends ever. I haven't seen him in a long time, mainly because of COVID and because of how hard this motherfucker works. He and his wife have 2 kids, and he doesn't want her to have to work, so he works his fucking ass off for the family, and it's super inspiring. And at the same time, like, I tell him this all the time, but like, I want him to be home more for his wife and his kids, and for me too. I'm going to be selfish. I love you so much, Cameron. I don't know if you're going to hear this, but I hope that you're doing incredible, and I hope I see you soon, and I hope that you and your family are happy and healthy, and I love you, buddy. Okay. Did you want to listen to anything?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Why don't you give me something? Why don't you show me something?
Need something. Oh, shit. Let's see. Normally I queue something up, but, let's see. What have I watched? Like, dude, all I've been watching lately is fucking, like, late 90s WWF.
Yeah.
So I'm, like, running through every episode of Raw, and, I started in 1996, and I'm somewhere in the end of 1998 right now. And that is the majority of what I've been watching. I'm trying to find anything on YouTube that...
I just watched like a bunch of Rocket League videos, and I watched...
Do you play, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Although I haven't been playing very much since Season 4 started.
I haven't either, actually.
Yeah, that, and then fucking... I don't know, have you ever watched Jim Can't Swim?
Jim Can't Swim?
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
He does, like, criminal psychology, and he does, like, breakdowns of interrogations and stuff.
Okay.
It's super duper interesting. Super interesting.
So I am so indecisive that I can't pull anything up, so we'll skip that, because it's going to take me for fucking ever to find something. Let's just say listen to fucking Over the Weather and listen to the new Hornbill song.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
I ain't going to do it for you, so just go do it yourself. Plugs. So, Over the Weather, obviously, where can we find you, and what's the best way to follow you guys and love on you?
Yeah, I mean, best way for follows is definitely Twitter and Instagram. We are on Facebook as well, but Facebook is kind of a cesspool, so...
Somebody told me to make a Facebook, and I was like, I'm not going to make a fucking Facebook. Yeah. Like, I've been on Facebook for years.
I don't do that. I don't use my... Like, I have a personal Facebook, but I don't fucking use it. But if Facebook is your jam, we're on there. Music streaming, like, you can find us everywhere on anything. Like, we're up on all the stuff, but... Big plugs, we still have some of our second press tapes up on CloudSurf's website. We also have hats and koozies up on our Bandcamp.
Yep.
So, you know, if you feel so inclined, you can support us on there. Everything's going to come with some really funny stickers that we have. So we'll load you up with stickers because we bought a ton of them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just go listen to some music, you know, check us out. Let us know what you think, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So yeah, thanks, Dixon. I appreciate you. Not that it wasn't awesome talking to you, but I one day would love to talk to the rest of everybody too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, everybody go listen to Over the Weather. thanks for watching and or listening, and we'll see you next time.